Good afternoon, everyone. We want to discuss something that is critical to changing our continent. We cannot discuss Africa and its rising, as we've always mentioned, without really, going into details of how we can change the thinking of the biggest resource Africa has, which is its people, the youth. So we cannot truly say that we want to change this continent if we are not able to change the mindset of the young people who are the architects of tomorrow. So today, what we want to do is we want to install a new operating system. The mindset is like the operating system that is responsible for how someone behaves, how they think, how they act. So I will start this class or this introductory part of what we are doing at the Joint Africa Project Scholarship by defining what the mindset is. We cannot say we are changing the mindset if you don't really understand what the mindset is all about. So in my notes, I will start with what Wikipedia calls the mindset, or how the Wikipedia defines the mindset. Then I will tell you my personal view of what I believe mindset is, my personal definition of the mindset. So Wikipedia says in my notes here, a mindset is an established set of attitudes of a person or group concerning cultures, values, philosophy, frame of mind, outlook, and disposition. It may also arise from a person's worldview or beliefs about the meaning of life. Now, this is what Wikipedia says the mindset is. My personal definition of mindset is the lens through which someone or a group of people, through which they see life. The way you see life, your worldview determines how you act, how you do everything that you do. Your mobile devices, your laptops, even some of the recent vehicles we have today, they have what we call operating systems. If you don't have an operating system installed into a mobile device or into your laptop or any device at all, that device will not fulfill the reason why it's been created. The operating system is what powers how the volume operates, powers how the cameras, the lighting, a lot of things. And without having that mindset installed, the proper mindset in this case, that individual will keep misbehaving, the organization will not work, the group will not function the way they have been. They are designed to function at its peak. So, because of that, we want to highlight the 7 destructive mindsets that is currently plaguing, the 7 destructive mindsets that are currently affecting the African youth negatively. And if we are able to, establish this negative mindset and find the proper replacement to this mindset, that is the major first step to achieving our goal or our dream of bringing back the glory or restoring back the glory of Africa. So the first on that list of the negative mindsets powering the African society today is that education is a scam. When I hear this from the youth saying that education is a scam, that people like Mark Zuckerberg, they did not finish school, people like Bill Gates, they did not finish school, and they are running multi-billion-dollar organizations, I just shake my head. These are just a few out of the millions or billions who dropped out of school and finally made it. When they show you this person dropped out of school, they don't show you the number in comparison to how many other people aren't doing well, or who would have, maximized their potential if they had gone to school. Beyond that, these people, when they left the university environment, for instance, they had other mentors and tutors who helped them to learn so many things that they otherwise would have still learned in the walls of the university. So, in other words, they have been properly educated. Maybe not within the university walls, but they have been properly educated. So, if you ever hear anyone tell you, this is what they are trying to push to the African youth, that education is a scam, whoever tries to tell us that is the person actually trying to scam us. Education is a tool, a powerful tool that enables people to be liberated. Education is the biggest tool that can take someone from where they are in a very low state in life, low position in life, to the peak. A lot of people who are doing fantastically well in the world, in business, in government, in finance, all of them from A to Z were properly educated and properly mentored. The few of them who weren't educated, sadly, and they are African leaders, they are easily manipulated by anyone. If you see an educated someone, I'm going to give you a very clear example. If you see an uneducated African businessman, say from where I am, an uneducated Igbo man, for instance, who owns a lot of businesses, very wealthy, when you come close to that man, you realize something. That man they usually have this self-esteem issues. They have this consciousness, I did not go to school. There is a way they feel inside. Now, that man may not have so much influence apart from his businesses, but if that kind of person is found in the government house, say as a governor, as a president of any state in Africa, that man, because of the way they feel about themselves, they are easily manipulated by external forces. This is the problem we've always had in Africa. If you watched the video we discussed where we made an introduction about JAP, we said that our past leaders failed not because of their vision. A lot of them had very good vision for Africa. A lot of them thought well about Africa. But they failed because of their ignorance. There are so many things they did not know. Personally, when I learned leadership the most, when I learned the crux of leadership, was during my MBA. I'll tell you this, I'm saying it for the first time. At MBA, of all the tens of thousands of dollars I paid for that program, the one thing I was able to take out of that program is what we call transformational leadership. I've read books on leadership and all that, but no program, no book ever explained it to me like my professor then, Dr. Lux. She is a California State University professor. This woman taught us about transformational leadership. That changed my orientation. I went further to learn more about leadership from other books and all that, from Dr. Miles Monroe of the blessed memory and so many other people. But that MBA alone transformed everything I know about leadership. I realized that any organization failing, any institution failing, is not as a result of the people who are at the bottom. Now, the narrative in the African society is that the average person on the street is corrupt. So why should African society be good? But I can tell us, if the leadership is right, from there down to the bottom, everything will be right. So the leadership problem we are having in Africa today is as a result of they don't have proper mentoring, no proper education. They don't go through, what we call structured educational system. You can learn things haphazardly on the internet, watch YouTube videos, watch this and that, but there is a way for information or for wisdom to be passed into you properly. There is a structured way that this ought to be done. There are levels, there are processes. Go from here to here to here to here. That is what education does. Education shows you how to follow this properly structured, and the mind begins to open up. Education opens the mind of someone, a youth, an adult, anyone, and it instills confidence. When you are properly educated, people cannot remote control you. You begin to understand things and see things for yourself. You don't need anybody to interpret things for you. For instance, if you go to the northern part of Nigeria or across Africa, people, all these young people who are Boko Haram and terrorists and all that, because they were not properly educated, somebody can come and misinterpret the Quran to them and tell them this is how this has been made, this is what the Quran tells you to do. But if this same child was properly educated, if someone who is trying to, or an imam or whoever is trying to use the Quran or the Bible to misinform them, they said, no, you cannot do that. I am intelligent. I have been properly mentored. I am well educated. You cannot tell me this or that. You have a good basis for interpreting information all by yourself. So this is one of the negative mindsets plaguing the African society. So what mindset do we need as the youth of this continent what mindset do we need to use to replace this negative mindset? I will tell you what. The mindset we need to change to replace this with is that education is a tool for liberation. Education is not a scam. It's a tool for liberation. Education is a tool for freeing people from the shackles of slavery. Currently, we may not be going through colonial rule again, but we are still mentally shackled. We are still mentally shackled. The average African, dark African with a dark skin, when they see someone who is lighter than them, they believe that person is the savior. They believe that person is superior to themselves. They believe this person is better than them because of the color of their skin. Can I tell you something? Africans, we've had so many inventions made by Africans, black Africans. They were stolen and rewritten that this was done by this other person with a lighter skin. There are so many inventions made by Africans. Can I also tell you something? The modern day education, writing on paper from papyrus, started from Egypt. Egypt in Africa. And the Egyptians of then, not what we see today, the native original Egyptians are dark-skinned people like you and I. When we discuss Ramesses, who was one of Egypt's greatest pharaoh, Ramesses was a very dark Egyptian. So please, I want you to understand this. I know all this because of education. I have read, I have learned, and I've realized that Africans are superior people. I'm not discussing superiority in terms of being better than any other person, but we are all equal. Nothing makes the person who is light-skinned better or more superior than you who is a dark-skinned person. This is what education can do for our people. These are the things we want to instill in the minds of our young people. We want them to understand the value of education and stop saying that education is a scam. If we have more leaders, more presidents, more governors who are well educated, nobody can drive them around. Nobody can push them around as puppets. Nobody from their country's capital, from wherever in the world, can tell them, do this or expose this evil thing you've done to your people in the past. Or I've put you here as a leader to your people and I can take that away from you. Or I can organize people and they will kill you. When our people are becoming more educated, all these things will stop. And once we have the right leaders in this continent, our people will truly be liberated. So with that, let's go to negative mindset 2, that is holding our people down. Now, this part is something that we seriously need to work on. The negative mindset 2 is so bad that it has even derived an African name for it. Negative mindset number 2 is attaching very little value to time. In Africa, we don't have value for time. to the point that they had to call something African time. If you set a meeting on an occasion with someone, they tell you, please, this is not African time. Africans, what is wrong with us? We have very little value for time. You say you are having a meeting with someone by 3 p.m. That person shows up by 4:30 p.m. and they still feel they are on time. Because when you tell somebody an occasion is starting by 3 p.m., Africans, as a rule of thumb, will feel that I will not be the first person to start the event. If I come there, nobody will be there. Personally, when this mindset left me was the day I lost a multiple $10,000 deal with someone in Canada because I showed up to a Zoom meeting 5 minutes late. This guy told me, so this is how we are going to do business. We scheduled that we are starting by 1 p.m. and then you are showing up by 1:05. We did not have that meeting. That meeting stopped there and there. That day I learned the hard way. So today, if I show up to a meeting 3 minutes late, I still have to apologize and say, I'm sorry that I showed up late. So Africans, we have very little value for time. We feel that time is infinite. We have so much time here. We don't have so much time. Take a look at 10 years ago. It feels like yesterday. Is that not correct? Time is running. Add more 10 years again, you feel like it's yesterday. Before you know it, you're in your 40s, you're in your 50s, you're in your 60s. Sometimes I look at my dad as old as he is. I said, this was a man that I knew when he was huge. Just 20 years ago, he was huge and plump and big. Now he's shrunk, smaller. I said, see what time can do. So we have to maximize every single time we have. So timing is everything. And can I tell us something very, very important? This is valuable that you understand that the unit of destiny is time. Destiny is the time allotted for you to accomplish something here with the life you've been given. Every single one of us have been designed for something great. And the time the way we use our time determines if we are going to fulfill that great thing that God has created us to do or not. The richest man in Africa, Aliko Dangote, the richest man in the world today, I think is Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. We all have the same time. The difference is how these people use their time from when they were young till today. So the more we are able to maximize our time, the more we are able to use our time properly, the better our lives become. You see an African man, a man with kids, in the morning when his contemporaries are in offices, are in their workplaces, he's somewhere playing drafts or drinking alcohol, drinking beer somewhere outside in the morning. In the morning. You see this in so many parts of this country. The only thing is, well, I wouldn't say that this is a deeper conversation that can cause a lot of rights. So let's leave that. But the truth about the matter is that we don't attach very good value to time. It's time to change that mindset. We replace that mindset with what? That time is the most precious gift given to us by God. And the way we use that time determines how our lives will go. We transition from African time, seeing that time, feeling that time is infinite. We have a surplus amount of time to knowing that this time we have been given is a gift. Every day is a gift. You can wake up the next day and you are gone. Yesterday when I stepped out of this place, I didn't know that I was going to break somebody's leg in the traffic where people were plenty. All through yesterday I was at the National Orthopedic Hospital trying to see the guy and liaise with the family and all that. This morning I went back there. So the time is infinite. It's the same way people die. So when we start to attach a lot importance to time, our lives will become better. So as I mentioned, we have to transition to this mindset that time is the most valuable, most precious gift given to us by God. And we have to do what with the time? We have to maximize that time. We have to use it wisely. We have to invest that time. You've heard of investing time in something. We have to invest time in learning, in education, in reaching out to other people. We have to guard against time wasters. There are lots of friends who want to take you to places and say, oh, let's just go there. To do what? Just to chill. There is nothing wrong in spending some time, relaxing after you've really worked. But every time, let's go and chill, let's go and chill, let's go and watch Netflix. Sadly, so many things are designed in the world today to destroy our time. Social media, Netflix, plenty of things. So we need to understand this thing and transition to knowing that time is the most valuable and precious gift given to us. If you lose money, you can get it back. If you lose anything, you can get it back. But once you lose time, it's gone forever. So let's go to negative mindset number 3. This one is also a very big one. Associating waste with bigmanism or with being wealthy. Let me explain this. There is a story that I read a while back. 2 African young men traveled to Europe. They went to Europe to eat in a restaurant. And in the restaurant, they just ate a few spoons and left the rest there. Very good, sumptuous meal. And the owner of the restaurant came and said, gentlemen, why are you not eating the food? Are you not done? They said, no, we are done. We are big boys from Africa. We are not eating anything anymore. The man said no. It was in Germany. The man said no. You cannot waste this. It's not really about. They said no, we have paid for it, so we can just leave it here and go. The man said no. A chef spends time cooking this. Somebody spent time growing the fish and the meat that you see inside here. Somebody spent time growing the vegetables. That is not really a function of your money. We don't care about the money. What we care about is the heart and the soul and the time spent in this. And you want to waste it? That you cannot leave this food here and go. That will rather package it for you and you go with it if you are in a haste. They said no. The man said no, I'll call the police on you. That you want to waste our things. And they packaged the food and gave them. Not because these guys have been filled up, but it's because of that wrong mentality in Africans. That if you waste something, that it makes you a wealthy person. People see you as someone who is opulent. They see you as somebody who has a lot, a big man. Africans associate waste to bigmanism. This includes wasting of time, wasting of money, wasting of resources. You go around African communities, you see electricity everywhere outside, turned on in the afternoon. Why? I've traveled a bit around the world, and I see that even the wealthiest cities, in their hotel rooms, they tell you, please, as you are leaving, turn off the light. You see devices produced, electronic devices, even your television, after a while, they turn off by themselves. You know why? To conserve energy. Those tiny units of energy, when you combine them, compare them, and compile them into millions of devices, those are millions of energy being wasted every day. But Africans, we derive so much joy in wasting things. We feel that waste makes us bigger than other person. That's why you see people on social media everywhere, young people, everyone is spending. Do you know that when you buy an iPhone of 1.something million naira and you are not using that iPhone to do something that is bringing more money than the iPhone itself, you are wasting that resource. There is a reason why they designed the phone, and many of our youths don't use 1/10 of the capacity or the capabilities of that phone. We just want to show that we are big. We are bigger or better than the other person through waste. That is a wrong mindset. And we need to correct those mindsets. Our African youths, you cannot grow. You cannot become bigger by wasting things. Whatsoever you waste diminishes. And you will have less and less of it till it finishes. I once read of a billionaire in the US. If any of his sons leaves the light bulb turned on in the afternoon, he charges that son of his $1 for leaving a light bulb on. This is a billionaire. In the African society, you say, somebody may say, why? Why is that? Leaving the light bulb on, is there anything wrong with that? But these are people who understand the value of things. You don't grow bigger by wasting. The Igbo people will say, what that means is that you cannot make things, get money, resources, and throw them away, and through that become a wealthy person. That is our traditional culture. This is what Africans need to adopt. We need to understand that you cannot get bigger, wealthier by wasting things. Rather, you become poorer, and it diminishes even further. So, as we said, a part of the things people waste: time, money, resources, even relationships. You meet somebody who can change your life by maybe in the future. This is a relationship that can give you a connection to a contract that might make you millions or billions. And you waste the opportunity by asking that person to just lend you 5,000. You've wasted that opportunity, golden opportunity. Maybe this is somebody who is highly positioned, and this relationship, you have to maintain it, keep it for a time when you will need it. This person will help you get a contract or start a business or introduce you to people who will give you funding for a project. And you waste it by asking the person, oh God, please, I am hungry, give me 5,000 or 10,000. Wasting of things. So these are the things that we are talking about. And like we said, buying things that you cannot afford. If you cannot buy something at least 2 times, you cannot afford it. Buying it is a waste of your money. And you don't get wealthy by wasting your resources. So we have to replace this with this mindset. We have to replace it with, we must learn to conserve things and avoid waste at all costs. We must learn to conserve things and avoid waste at all costs. So for whatever we waste diminishes. If we waste anything, it diminishes. It doesn't increase. And the universe is designed by God himself in such a way that anything we use properly multiplies. If you diminish anything, it reduces. This is a universal law that nothing can change. So we get poorer in Africa by wasting things. We say, okay, we don't have electricity enough, but the ones we have, we leave it turned on every afternoon. So this is the challenge. Is it closer? This is the challenge we have in Africa, and we have to fix this. Thank you. We have to fix this as soon as possible. If we cannot fix this, then we cannot make progress as a people. Okay? So we must also replace it with the mindset that the most successful people in the world are not wasters. In fact, they are the most frugal and conservative people. These are the mindsets we need to inculcate as the African youth. This will revolutionize and change everything about our continent. People out there, they look at us, they laugh at us because they see a lot of mistakes we make. And they know that if we continue this way, we can never be liberated. They will continue to ride over us because of our ignorance. We must correct all these things for a change to come in this continent. So with that, we are going to go to the next negative mindset, number 4. The negative mindset number 4 is wishing for wealth and riches without work. I see a lot of our youths, I want $1 million. They will post on their status where they are dreaming of $1 million. And I look at these young people, I said, what is wrong with our people? Is there no one to teach our people that for you to make money, you can only make money in 2 ways: by providing either services or products that are valuable and useful within the context of a civilization. If you cannot provide products or offer services in return for money, you don't have any right whatsoever to demand anything. If you're looking for $1 million, what can you offer to the society or to the world in exchange for $1 million? This is why everyone is flocking to politics in Africa. They see it as a means to go and get money without work. You are sleeping at the State House of Assembly, not making any policy, making in fact useless policies, but at the end of the month, you receive millions of naira or thousands of rands or millions of shillings, whatever that is. That is why everyone in Africa today, they feel that politics is the easiest way to get rich. Everyone is looking for a means to get wealthy without work. This is the reason why we have a lot of corrupt politicians in Africa. Everyone is looking for money without work. And this is the same reason why if you've been corrupt in your dealings, you want to pack convoys that is from as long as whatever to protect yourself from people who may want to lynch you or kill you because you know that you are a criminal. So in Africa, we should be prosecuting people who are in offices doing nothing but make a lot of money instead of glorifying them. They are criminals. And the average African youth today is just interested in how they can make money without working. If you want $1 billion, what can you offer at least a couple million people for them to give you $1 billion? If you want $1 million, what can you offer a few hundreds of thousands or thousands of people for them to give you $1 million? You need to figure out how to create value that is useful to people in order to make that kind of money. So we have to replace this mindset with this, that we must learn how to give value in the form of products and services that are both useful, valuable to people, that people are willing to pay for. And we serve these products and services with excellence to people. We don't just get something to offer people and just sharpishly give it to them because you've created it. Nobody will buy. In Africa, we create and develop a lot of great products, strong, durable, but not with excellence. We do very solid doors. I think I've given this as an example before. We do great doors, security doors, wonderful doors, but we don't sell them well because the finishing, which is excellence, is missing. So we have to develop products and services that are useful to people, which they are willing to pay for, and we deliver it to them with excellence. This is the only way to make money, not wishing that one day money will just fall into your laps, or you find a bag of money somewhere and run with it, or you are going to kill some people or kill some young woman or some young man and use their heads or their body parts to make money. It's demonic. That is what is holding the African people back and down. We need to get rid of all these things. Once we do that, Africa can make progress. Now, let's go to the fifth negative mindset plaguing Africa. The fifth negative mindset that is plaguing us as a people is the crab mentality. The crab mentality is the mentality that, have you seen crabs in a bucket before? If one is trying to climb out, others will drag it down. We all have to stay here though. So Africans, we have this crab mentality. If somebody is rising, instead of helping that person, pushing them, giving them more resources to climb out of that poverty or go further, because when they climb out of there, that's when they can bring other people out. They want to drag everyone down. We must be here together. That's why you see friends, if one of the friends is doing well, the next time you hear that they've poisoned that person from the same clique of friends, because this one is doing better than all of them. If a young lady started dating some very successful young man, very soon you hear that her one of the friends poisoned her. This is the African mentality. If you see an uncle doing better than his brother, the brother will start using some African, they say, we don't call it African magic, no. They use some evil voodoo to try to kill them. It's the crab mentality. We should understand that we rise by lifting others. The only way you can be liberated from a situation is to watch other people who are in the same situation with you come out of it, or even help them out of it. In helping them out of it, you are going to see the way that they climb out, and you can climb out too. Even if they don't extend their hand to help you, you are going to see, because of proximity, they are close to you, how they did it, and you can too. But once you drag them down, destroy them, make sure that they don't rise, everybody will stay down. Nobody will grow. This is the problem with the African society. And the people out there, they understand this thing about us, that we destroy ourselves. Even during the slave trade, a lot of us, we are selling our own people. When I was a kid, my dad would tell us sometimes, if we misbehave, that if he was doing the slave trade, this thing you are doing, I'll just sell you off. So I said, okay, so our people were even selling us, selling our own people. We need to change that mentality. We need to understand that the only way to get out of any situation is anyone who is coming out of there, you help them, push them up, give them all the resources. If you cannot even help or do anything, leave them alone, don't tear them down. If you cannot lift them up or applaud them or cheer them on, leave them alone. Okay, imagine that someone who is your friend becomes, for instance, a billionaire. And this friend of yours, out of your clique of friends, becomes the billionaire, the richest person. If you kill that person, do you think you ever have a chance to become like that person? But if you help this person, even if you don't help that person, for the fact that they are your friend or close to you, it means you are in the neighborhood of billionaires. Very soon you will be the next person in no distant time. But if you drag them down, there is no leave, no transfer. That's what's happening in Africa as a continent. We are always dragging each other down. We don't want the other person to do better than us. But you see people out there, they are best at promoting themselves. If someone else is doing well in their place, they start sharing that person, giving them everything they need. Governments will even help businesses to succeed more. In Africa, governments are trying to tear businesses down. This ought not to be. So we have to replace it with this mindset. We must understand that we rise. We can only rise by lifting others. And if success is in your neighborhood, it means that you are the next candidate for success. This is the only way we can rise as a people. And we can also get motivated just by seeing a friend who succeeded, or somebody who is in our class, who used to be where we were. If that person rises, that gives you some hope that I can do it. If this person can do it, they don't have two heads. They are like myself. I can get out of here. These are the mindsets we need to adopt. So with this, let's go to mindset number 6. The 6th negative mindset holding us down as a continent is that we should return to atheism, or we should return to so-called African traditional worship. I'll tell you something, and I'm going to balance that with point number 7, the negative mindset of number 7. I made a bit of research. I realized that if someone brings something, if you see someone doing something that is working, the absolute best way to become like that person or do better than them is to get the good that they are doing, take it. If there is something they are not doing well, you eject it. So, let me put this way. This is a very controversial part of this conversation. Christianity, for instance, the young African will tell you that when they came with Christianity, they used it to brainwash our people and do this and that. But have you forgotten that when the people amongst the colonizers who were wicked, when they came to take things away from us, there were other people who were kind-hearted that came with them. And these were called the missionaries. The missionaries followed these people to come down to this place. The missionaries brought education. You hear a lot of mission schools. The missionaries established a lot of hospitals for our people at no cost. And this dramatically reduced the mortality rate of our people. So they did a lot of things wrongly, the colonizers, but also when people, the church, heard that there is a land where we have people who are still trying to learn some things they have learned ahead of us, they came and said, we are going to bring the good that we have. We are going to bring the gospel, the ways of the kingdom of God to these people. Can I tell you something else? Where Christianity, for instance, came from, the Jewish people, the Jews weren't actually white, light-skinned people. The real Jews were as brown as I am. Jesus was never some white guy. Jesus was a brown, Middle Eastern man like myself. Sunburned, tanned. So if people paint a picture with some white guy and then say that this is a white man's religion, you are missing something crucial. Christianity came with a lot of things, and the Jews that this came from, they have the biggest or largest number of patents in the world. They are the people who have made the biggest inventions in the world. They are the people who have advanced humanity the most. So if these people came with this thing, and it is something, an agent of change, positive change, we have to embrace that. I am going to buttress that with an opposing fact that we also need to address, which is point number 7. We'll get to point number 7, holding onto our African culture and values, like respect for elders, decent dressing, and all that. We are going to come there, and we are going to balance that with what we are discussing here. So, as I mentioned, Christianity, for instance, came with a lot of good. And the kingdom of God, what is the kingdom of God? The kingdom of God is establishing God's way. And we understand that God is love. Loving your neighbor the way you love yourself. That is the basis of Christianity. Personally, I'm not a religious person. I don't even believe in religion. Religion has been the biggest challenge human beings have had. It has torn humans down. But that thing called the kingdom of God is what Christianity, for instance, represents. That means even when somebody, the highest and toughest teaching of Jesus was, if someone slaps you here, give him the other cheek as well, that you don't retaliate. But we see other sect of people, they say if you don't believe in us or what we do, just kill that person. That is not love. That is why I've chosen the way of Jesus. Jesus is the person who has taught people hard things to do. But if you obtain grace to do them, you see that that is the way humans are primarily designed to live and enjoy life. For instance, Jesus' principle of leadership is that you serve people who you are a leader over. But the way that we've known leadership is that somebody is a boss and he commands everybody. You go and do this. You go and do that. That is the way that is not of the kingdom of God. The way of the kingdom is a way of service, a way of love. Love encapsulates everything that, for instance, the Christian doctrine teaches. I also need to talk about this. When the Christians, when the colonizers came, they weren't the actual Christians. It was missionaries that followed them. Most of them had ulterior motives to kill people and all that. Some other people from their place said, let's follow these people and see this new land they discovered. Let's show them this way of Jesus, this way of love. Let's help them with health care. Let's help them with education. Let's help them with development. So we've seen the good that Christianity came with. So let's not just throw away the baby and the bathwater. We take the baby, which is the gospel of the kingdom, the way of love. The bathwater is the negative influences they caused, the Not even they, the missionaries, what the politicians amongst them did. It has nothing to do with the missionaries. So we must balance this out with the mindset that the way of love, the way of God, which is the way of truth, which is the way that Jesus taught us. Jesus came as a man himself to teach us. This is not a religious thing. JAP is nothing about religion. We are trying to show us the man who has shown us the greatest form of love, sacrificial love, even dying for people he doesn't know about. He doesn't know. Just for them to have life. That is the biggest sacrifice anyone can do. And it has completely changed the lives of people like myself and so many other people. And can I also tell you something? The people who brought this way to us, today, a lot of them, they have lost that way of life. They have lost that way of living. And that is why you see their place now, they are having a lot of chaos. This is coming from the ancient Roman Empire. The ancient Roman Empire is what we have today as England, France, Denmark, Portugal. These countries now were the ancient Roman Empire that disintegrated. And these people were following this way of life that brought them a lot of progress and advancement. And now Africa as a continent is even shipping this way of life back to them. You see our African men of God shipping this way of life back to them. Because some men of God have made some mistake, not properly interpreting the word of God, doesn't mean that we have to throw the baby and the bathwater away. This way of life has changed a lot of people, including myself. And this is why we are so bent on transforming the African continent as we are doing today. So we must change that mindset and return to the way of God himself, which is the way of love, which encapsulates everything Christianity is saying and preaching. And if someone doesn't do all those things and still call themselves a Christian, know that they are not really a Christian. They are just using that as a means to extort other people. If someone doesn't adhere to what a system teaches, it doesn't mean that that system is wrong. It means they are taking advantage of that system or that process. And we shouldn't say that because of that the system is bad or terrible. That's what we are advocating for. So let's go to the last negative mindset we must address, which is negative mindset number 7. Losing the African culture. Africans as a people, we have a rich culture, a rich heritage. We have respect for our elders. We have respect for our parents. We have respect for superiors. In, for instance, the Western world, you see a child calling their parents by their name. And we are learning all those terrible things. We will not learn the best of the things they have brought to us. We just want to take the terrible ones and imbibe them into us. This includes indecent dressing. You see our young people, young girls dancing on TikTok with almost bare breasts. You see a lot of things. This is un-African. Africans were people, we've always been people who have value for culture. We are fully cladded. Let's discuss indecent dressing a bit. When you buy a valuable product, one thing that is very distinctive about that product is that that product is always wrapped in so many layers. That is the value of something. It's covered and covered so there is no damage to it. If you buy a brand new iPhone, you have to open so many things before you access that phone. But if you buy a used one, is it wrapped up? No, it's not wrapped up. It means it has less value. So the more our ladies, our young men, we expose ourselves, our bodies, it shows we don't even have value. That what we have, we don't respect this temple. We are spirits living in a body. We don't respect our temple. So we must go back to our original African values, our cultures. This is me balancing what we discussed in point number 6 with this. There are so many African values we are losing today. We are learning so many bullshit, so many inappropriate things from the West. We must get rid of these things that are affecting us mentally. The more you expose your body, the more you expose yourself to sex. And sex as a tool has destroyed more young people than fixed them. Sex is in fact a destructive tool. It messes up with the mind, it messes up with the talent, it messes up with the potential of young people. And this is what they are trying to push to us. So we follow this trend and destroy our youth and destroy our society. Africans, we have very rich heritage. We must preserve and maintain this heritage for us to progress as a people. We must preserve all these things. You don't have a child calling their parents by their name. Say, hey, imagine me going to my hometown and see my dad. Hey, Patrick. Patrick, how are you? Hey, Patrick, what's up today? You see, we are losing it because we are seeing a lot of rubbish from the West and we are picking those things up. So this is something that China has done beautifully well. The Chinese, for instance, as a people, they take the technological advancement from the West. They take a lot of beautiful things from the West, but they preserve the good things they have, their cultures, their values. If you go to a Chinese TikTok, you don't see the same dressing and dancing you see around. Their TikTok shows you something different, where their young people are advancing in technology and so many other things. We need to get back to those ways. And last but not the least, when we discuss weddings and all that, an African will say that they will have their traditional wedding and also have their church wedding, and a wedding is a wedding. When I was having my own wedding, I told my priest, it's because he's somebody I respect a lot and he has not understood this, so I allowed him to go with that flow. When I was having my wedding, I told my priest that I just want to do traditional marriage. I am not interested in anything wearing suit. And he said, no. Is it that you don't have money for suit? I can give you a suit. I said, no. I have a lot of tuxedos I've not worn. That is not a problem. In fact, during my wedding, I did not even buy any tuxedo. I just went to my wardrobe and picked up one of my tuxedos and I wore to the event. And everything was fine. So, traditional wedding, white wedding, if we say we must do traditional and white wedding, we are still being mentally colonized. That you believe that the white wedding is the all in all. Without it, that you've not done wedding. We need to address all these things. We need to stop this. Because we as Africans, can I tell you something? Even our traditional marriages are much more better, 10 times better than what we call your white wedding. You want to wear that elaborate gown this way and all that. The only reason, I can tell you, I will keep saying it, the only reason why I did that for myself is because my priest insisted, and he has not gotten out of that mind. And he's somebody who has been instrumental even to what we are doing at JAB. So I needed to give him that respect. It's out of honor that I did it. If not because of the issue of honor, I would never have done it. So I respect him a lot, and I believe with time, when we are doing all these teachings and we are even sending it over to him, he will be learning, everybody will be learning, and seeing reasons why these things are not necessary. A priest can come to your traditional wedding and bless you and your partner there. Bless you and your husband, bless you and your wife, and everybody will go home very happy. And you save a lot of money. In Africa, we waste a lot of money in weddings, ungodly amount of money. And this results to breaking up of marriages and all that. You finish spending all the money you used to feed your family or start up a new life. And then when you get back home, financial stress will destroy the marriage. Africans, we need to wake up. The people you learn the white wedding from, you see them, they just bring their relatives and a few friends. Not more than 15, 20, 30, 50 people in a marriage ceremony. As simple as that. But in Africa, we want to waste money. And that's why we are seeing divorce rates skyrocketing. People are wasting their life savings on weddings just so they will trend. So they will say that, oh, if you come to that person's wedding, it was massive. It's something that happens just one day. And you wasted your entire life savings or what you used to start up a new family. Starting up a new family requires a lot of money. So if you channel all that energy on just calling a few friends, having a traditional marriage, or if you decide and say, okay, I just want to have a church wedding or an Arabian style wedding, You can just do that. Choose one and do. As simple as that. Even in burials, we don't have to spend a lot of money trying to do a lot of things and all that. We need to come back to our original African ways. We are African people, rich culture, rich heritage. We need to embrace who we are. And when you embrace who you are and what you stand for, other people will start appreciating you and try to start learning from you. Today, you see the Westerners, they are going to the East, they're going to India, they're going to China to learn yoga and all those other things because they embrace who they are. They respect their culture, their tradition. So other people are now beginning to buy into it. We have to respect our culture, our traditions. To be quite honest with you, I'll say it again. I am wearing this suit and tie today. It's not meant to be the kind of clothing we are wearing, but it's for me to appeal to you, the youth, and bring your attention. When we have brought your attention to what we are doing, you see me wear my senator clothing and my traditional wears. This thing was designed for people who live in very cold regions, where heat, they need to trap every single heat in their body. So they use tie to. Okay, see me sweating in this environment that is very cool because of what I'm wearing. I'm strangling myself just to appeal to the African youth, for them to understand that this is a serious matter. When we've now gotten your attention about job and everything we are doing, you see me on senators day in, day out. Free clothing. We live in a hot climate. We don't need to wear things that will choke us this way every day and night. We need to appreciate who we are as a people. We need to appreciate our culture, our tradition. So we have to replace this mindset with the African culture is rich and beautiful, and you and I must preserve it at all costs. We must preserve our culture. That's how people respect us. If they still see us doing their things. Okay, imagine a child. I used to have somebody who was very close to me. She would say, that guy cannot even speak good English. I asked her, is English his language? So you measure someone's level of intelligence based on if they can speak good English or not. It means we are still mentally shackled. We need to get out of that. If someone can speak their native language properly and effectively, any other language they add to it is just a bonus. Doesn't detract from them if they are, whether they are smart. It doesn't show whether they are smart or not. If you can speak your Igbo very well, if you can speak your Hausa very well, if you can speak your Yoruba very well, if you can speak your Zulu very well, if you can speak your Afrikaans language or your Kana language, if you can speak your Swahili properly, and you cannot speak English, that doesn't mean that you are not smart or smarter than the next person. It's not a measurement of smartness. We have to kill all these things that are stopping Africans from rising. We have to kill all these things holding us back from knowing that we are great people with a great heritage. Africans, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. The time is now. We have to unshackle our minds from this mental colonialism still going on within us and embrace who we are as a people and understand that we are some of the greatest people in the world. No one is better than us because of how their skin color is lighter than us or ours. We are blessed. As a matter of fact, we are so blessed that people out there feel that we don't even deserve the blessings we have, so they have to come and find a way to steal them from us. You have to wake up. The way we are blessed with mineral resources is the way we are blessed with human resources. We are talking about the motherland. Every other people you see, they stem up from Africa and migrated to the northern hemisphere, western hemisphere, or wherever they are right now. We have to wake up. So let's make a quick recap and go back to the 7 things that we discussed. So the first mindset we said we are going to eliminate is that education is a scam. Education is not a scam. It's a tool that liberates people and unshackles us from the chains of mental slavery. Number 2, we have to learn how to attach good value to time. We have to get rid of the African time mentality, knowing that time is the most precious gift we have given to us by the Creator, by God Himself. Number 3, we have to stop associating waste with wealth or big manism. We have to learn that anything that we waste diminishes, and anything that we preserve, anything that we manage properly increases. Proper management is directly linked to increase and wealth. If you waste what you have, you are going to have less of what you have. If you waste time, you have less time. If you waste money, you have less money and all that. So we also have to get rid of the fact that Africans, especially our young Africans, keep wishing for wealth and riches without work. The only way to make money and get wealthy or rich is by giving immense value to as many people as possible in the form of products or services that are valuable and useful within the context of a civilization. Then, number 5, we have to get rid of the crab mentality, trying to drag everyone down with us. If you see someone rising as an African, help your African brother, help your African sister to rise. Let's stop trying to tear people down and say, if I am not getting this, no one else will. You see a politician kill another politician if they want to beat them to the election. We have to get rid of all this negative mindset. This is the only way we can grow as a people and take or claim our position in the world, and people will start respecting us. This is the only way, no other way. And number 5, we have to get rid of that thinking, that atheism, not believing in God. Every one of us, we came from a source. You don't know how we came here. You don't know how you came. Someone created and designed us. We have to have that firm belief and faith in that one and only true God. And we have to return to the way of love. And I don't believe in religion, but the only thing that have depicted that way of love to a large degree, and I've seen it personally for myself, that way of love is the Christian faith. Jesus as Christ has shown us the way to love other people. Such a hard way to live. But if we can follow that hard way, then we are going to enjoy and experience better quality life with ourselves, with God, and with other people. Then, last but not the least, we have to embrace the African culture and stop losing the African culture. The African culture is rich. We must get our dressing right. We are decent people, Africans. Africans, listen. Our young women, listen. We are decent people. We have a rich culture, rich heritage. If you feel that you are a valuable person, your body is valuable, you are valuable as a person, cover it. Valuable items are properly wrapped and kept. It's only used phones that you see that are not wrapped and kept. For those of us who are enthusiasts who are iPhone freaks and all that, if you buy a brand new one, it's wrapped up in many layers before you bring it out. A used one is just there, they give it to you that way. So would you rather attribute yourself to a used person, a worthless person, or a person of importance, a person who is valuable, well-cladded? You can still be a king and a queen, properly dressed. What determines who you are as a person is what is inside here, what is in your head, not that body you go for BBL and all those bullshit we do. We don't need all those things as Africans. Let's get rid of that mindset. Let's remove every junk being fed to us from the West. This is the only way we can grow as a people and get out of this mental slavery. Then, I think we also talked about respect for parents and elders and our superiors. Very important. Respect is so important. If you don't respect people, you cannot go far in life. That is why the other people, they are every day degrading and degrading. We are seeing them going down. Africa, we must rise. By respecting and honoring people, that's the way to rise. Last but not least, we as an African people, we have to understand that we don't have to do traditional weddings and white wedding. I will keep harping on this. That is colonial mentality. That if you don't do white wedding, that you've not done any wedding at all. It's a lie. Our traditional weddings are better, richer in experience, by far, better in design and everything to any other kind of wedding. You can call your priest and say, hey, pastor, hey, imam, come to my village. Come to my father's house. Come and bless us here. This is the way we want to do it. We are getting our people unshackled from that mental slavery. And with this, we will have a prosperous and thriving Africa. So, we've mentioned that education is the biggest tool. This is why we established the JAB Scholarship Program, the Joint Africa Project Scholarship. We established it to raise the next generation of young leaders in Africa. So we urge you to go to jabscholarship.org, go in there and register your name, apply for one of the scholarships, and if you qualify, we are going to give you a full scholarship, full stipends, travel expenses, everything covered, accommodation, feeding, all done for you, just so that you can go out there and get the knowledge you need to come back and transform this continent. This is the only way we can fix this continent, by raising educated leaders who have been mentally transformed to lead this continent to glory. We can do it. We believe we can do it. We've started the movement. Join us in this movement. Share this video. Like, comment, tell us what you think. Call your friends, send it to your friends, your family, people in your circle. Tell them that something is going on in Africa, that Africa is rising. And you've just discovered the JAB Scholarship Project. You just discovered the Joint Africa Project International, which has our program, the JAB Scholarship. Share this across everywhere. Spread the message. Let some child in poverty, who is hopeless, who has what it takes to lead Africa, learn and hear about this message. Let's get this continent working. We don't have any other place to call home. I cannot raise my children anywhere else apart from Africa. We cannot go anywhere. Some of us cannot go to any other place in the world. This is the only place we call home. And with your help, with your collaboration, with your support, in any way you can, we can make this dream a reality. Thank you very much, and I remain your friend and your partner in this journey to restoring the glory of Africa. My name is Ken Chuka. Thank you.